Welcome to another episode of Ask the Wizard After Dark. I'm your host, Russ Leteau, aka The Wizard. Well, good evening, everyone. It's June 25th, and this is another episode of Ask the Wizard After Dark. I'm your host, Russ Leteau, a.k.a. The Wizard. I've had people ask me where the wizard handle came from, and many of you listening to this have probably seen my photo somewhere in other social media, and I have long hair, as you probably have noticed. And years ago, however long ago it was, when the Lord of the Rings movies were all the rage, and that was everything, the only thing that everyone could talk about, my students began to refer to me as Gandalf. I actually had children. I don't think any came up and told me so, but they would tell their mothers. They would see me, and they would say, "He looks like Gandalf." So I just went with it. It really stuck. My methodology, I guess you would say, my blend of the spiritual and psychological and etherical and practical is kind of all mixed together. The source or the flow from where my teachings come from, where the coaching comes from. Of course, you've heard me use this label many times in this program. I call it source wisdom. And so I guess if you look at that, it is sort of all wizardly. And so that's where Ask the Wizard came from. I trust you had a good weekend. Start of a week tomorrow. And for many people, it will be the continuation of the quest to find somewhere to belong. We have this need deep within us to find our tribe, or a tribe, a family, a community, somewhere where we feel like we belong. Because if we don't have that, then who are we? You see, the thing about finding your tribe is you now have something that you can identify with, and which helps shore up or even create your identity, that gives you a purpose, that feels like you have somebody that's watching your back. And that's perfect. We all need a place to call home, that group of like-minded people. That's one of the reasons that I have spent and continue to spend as much energy as I do creating this online content and creating our Facebook community. And if you're not a member of it, I invite you to look us up and join. If you just search for Russ's Inner Circle on Facebook, you will find the group, and I would love to have you join us. It's a place where people of like-minded and like-heartedness can connect and share and learn and grow and to support. And that's so valuable. Have you ever noticed, though, there's some people that just can't seem to find a home? They find one and they think this is it, but then they leave. and they go looking for another one, and another one, and another one. And just even this weekend, it's really, the universe really impressed it upon me even more that community is absolutely vital. However, it's not the end in many respects. It's the means to the end. You see, there's primarily two ways we can enter into a community. The first one is we know who we are. We're comfortable with who we are. We've accepted ourselves with all our brightnesses and all our shadows, all our light and all our dark. We know we're a work in progress, but we know who we are. And then we find, or more often than not, we attract or are actually drawn to a community that we resonate with. And we can share, and we can grow, and we can be supported, and we can support. But you see, we already know who we are. And then we find again, or we are really attracted to that community. And then there's others that are not really sure who they are. And so they go looking for a community, for a group, for a family, because they don't know who they are. And they're looking for somebody or someone else to tell them. See, now we may think that a community, a family, a home is a group of people. And that's true. But it's so much more than that. Just think about it. How many people, and I've talked about this in past shows, how many people are trying to force their way into a community because they so want to be the person they feel that community embodies, but they're not. But if they can find that community, then they will. So, that community could be a community of similar bank accounts. That community could be a community of similar credentials and degrees. That community could be a community of similar ideologies. That community could be a community of similar offenses. That community can be a community of similar dysfunctions. And so often, we end up with a community that is really, really not who we are. But because we don't know who we are, something is always better than nothing. You see, the worst thing in the world is not knowing. And so even if we found a community of the same dysfunction, at least we feel that we now know who we are. And in a way we are that way because we have said this group defines who I am. But you see, until we have discovered and remembered who we are, there is nothing and no one outside of us that will satiate that. But we keep looking. Maybe the community is a partner, a spouse, a significant other. But if we're looking for that significant other to define who we are, it never works. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's a location. Maybe it's a vocation. Maybe it is our bank account. Maybe it is the neighborhood in which we live or the car that we drive. But none of those will replace the first step, which is remembering who you are. You see, that's why for me, things like that meditative practice, your spiritual practice, and this is, for me, this is absolutely crucial, that you develop, discover, and build a spiritual practice. So what's a spiritual practice? A spiritual practice is something that for you gives you at least some semblance of connectedness with something bigger than yourselves and some feeling of peace. Now, I know that's so much easier said than done. But I truly believe if you're listening to this broadcast, that the universe is moving on you right now to help you remember. And it doesn't take anyone or anything outside of yourself. The universe is continually impressing source wisdom upon every one of us. And the first thing that does is it clears the cobwebs away from our forgotten memories, and we remember who we are. And when that happens, we don't need a community anymore. We don't need anyone or anything or any circumstance to agree or to define who we believe and think and hope we are, because we've remembered it from the proverbial inside out, and that is the issue. So many people are trying to define themselves from the outside in, and it just doesn't work. Oh, it may satiate us for a short period of time, but it always wears off. Then we have to move on to another one. But I know if you're listening to this, that the universe is moving upon you in a very strong and profound way right now, even as you listen to my voice. Things are changing, not outside, but inside you. And why do I know that? Because that's what I'm here to do. You see, because I remembered who I was and who I am. And my role is to act as a catalyst for you to remember who you are. And that's what's happening right now. And if you would simply be willing, the universe will move. You see, there's no minimum standards we have to meet, no criteria, other than choose to be willing. That's all the universe is looking for, is for you to choose to be willing, and it will move, and source wisdom will come into your life, and you will remember who you are. And in this wonderfully ironic way, you'll get to that spot where you really don't need anybody to tell you, to define you, to validate you. And then your community will find you. If you have felt anything, it can be frustration. It could be discouragement. It could be elation. It could be euphoria. Talk to me. It's just you and me. You can get a hold of me on my website at russlitow.com, RUSSLITTAU, Twitter at russlitow, Facebook, search for Russ Litow. You can find me. Our Facebook group, Russ's Inner Circle. Let me know. What are your comments? What are your questions? What are your frustrations? What would you like source wisdom to share with you? Come find me. It's just you and me. And there are no questions that are off topic. and there's nothing that's taboo. I'm Russ Leteau, aka The Wizard, and this has been another episode of Ask the Wizard After Dark.